Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm very, very pleased that you are here. And I'm looking forward to a beautiful day. Although I haven't looked outside yet and I can hear the snow plows, which means that there must be snow. We'll take a look at it tomorrow. Anyways, hi, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and shiatsu massage therapist. And what I do is I help women who are in toxic relationships, and I help them in a very unique way. I help them by understanding how they work, how they personally work, their body, mind, the subconscious, Asian medicine, um, metaphor, music, crystals, metaphysics, acupressure, body work, all of that. I really come from a physical realm, the physical aspects of healing and personal growth and change. And so I help women become the person that they're meant to be, that a narcissist has pushed them to be, which is actually a better version of yourself, someone that can navigate life more confidently and more skillfully and to really create a beautiful life. So today we're talking about narcissists, and we're talking about how if narcissists are truly as soulless and and dark as people say. So there are two different kinds. You know, there's a whole spectrum of narcissism. Narcissism is where your primary focus in life is yourself, is getting your needs met. And Maya Angelou said it wonderful once. She said, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. And that's one of the tricky things that happens to many women who get into relationships as adults, is they actually get into relationships with people who say things like, you know what, I need to make sure I take care of myself first and foremost. Now that sounds like a healthy thing, but it's only a healthy thing when it comes from people who have spent their lives, like you, not taking care of yourself, not getting your needs met. When it comes from someone who is more selfish and more self-absorbed, or have more of a mental health issue, then it truly means that everything in their life revolves around them. That's kind of your ding, ding, ding sort of cue. But as an empath or someone who's super compassionate, we tend to look at those situations as, how can I help? You know, that's not true. Or clearly there's somebody who needs me. So a narcissist can be narcissistic because either they're wired to be more on the Asperger side, which means that they're completely unaware and self-absorbed because of their brain wiring, but they tend to be pretty good people if you can help them understand, if they want it, and if you can help them understand how to treat people, you know, how what's expected. So you have to have strong boundaries and confidence, which is what I help women do. I do this amazing group every Tuesday, and we do masterminds and we do check-ins and strategy calls. And really, it's a wonderful group where women can come together as a community and really heal, which is critical, which is key to moving forward. To stop doing this alone and just hiding in the YouTube videos and articles on what a narcissist is. Now, the other side of narcissism tends to be more of a mental health problem, usually borderline personality, bipolar. It tends to be something that's a little more complex. So maybe as a child, the narcissist had some sort of chemical imbalance in their brain. And then if you add trauma, and a lot of people who come from families with mental health, trauma and drama is a natural part of the cycle. And when you're in a relationship with someone who says, oh, I went through a lot of trauma as a kid, that kind of needs to be your red flag, because unresolved trauma is big. And unless people are willing to work on it, then it's going to pop up at the nastiest moments. And that's what causes people to say are narcissists and are as dark and soulless as they seem. Because there's this whole Jekyll and Hyde, especially with borderline personality. There's a whole Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing. So one, let's say you allows yourself to be vulnerable and open and compassionate and empathic, like you're supposed to be, you know, like you were taught how to be a good woman, how to be kind, how to be soft, how to be a light, how to be a guide, how to be accommodating and adaptable. You know, all of these things you were probably taught. And so, you know, between, so you walk into this relationship open and vulnerable and kind. And here's this person absorbing it all in, giving you all of this attention and all of this time. And then when there's a bad moment, stress or overwhelm, or tiredness, or a change in the weather, or bad traffic, or a bad day at work, or an insecurity that comes up, or the time of the month, whatever it may be, um, then they take all of that information that they had and they use it against you, and they use it to open you up. You know, if someone announces themselves as toxic, or as troubled, from the very beginning you can be prepared. But if they don't, if they look fine, if they're Prince Charming or Princess Charming, if they seem confident and charismatic and charming, and take a second look, because that's someone who can't no one can usually maintain that level of enticement, of charm, of whatever it may be. And the darker things they deal with, the insecurities and the overwhelm and the pain and the anger and the betrayal and the stabbed in the back and the feelings of being controlled by how they feel, all those will come up in a bad moment. And because of the Jekyll and Hyde, because there's someone who has given and been loving and been caring, and now they're using all of that to rip somebody else's heart out or threaten them or make them feel hurt. That can be exactly what makes a narcissist feel dark and soulless, because you never are safe, because all of the information they have about you can be used to keep you small, to keep you controlled, to keep you a safe person. Some people will even make you mad. Many narcissists will make you mad because when you're mad, you're more controllable. When you're upset, when you are, um, eh, because it like flips a switch many times in the narcissist. When you're upset, it makes them feel better, makes them feel powerful, like they have control. But then there's this whole weird thing of guilt and shame on the other side, and then having to protect themselves. Do you see how this is a little bit complicated? Do you see how this is complex? Many people like looking at narcissism and saying something very simple, like they're dark and evil and you can never trust them. When in reality, narcissists have a dark and evil side, and that dark and evil side is worse because they've got this wonderfully kind, supportive side. And so it's like you're left vulnerable, you want to trust, you're on a high level, and then the rug's pulled out from underneath you. That's exactly how a narcissist works. Whether that narcissist, like for me, is a family member that dealt with mental health issue, or it's a narcissist for others where it's a relationship they're in now, a son or a brother, or a coworker, or someone random, their neighbor, somebody that they have to live with or deal with. So toxic and borderline people, they come across as really evil and soulless because of the yin yang of their personality. Now, if you're a strong personality, if you're someone with strong boundaries, who's incredibly honest, who's a straight shooter, who can see this person as not a savior, but as someone who is struggling with a mental health disorder, if you can come from that place, then they're not soulless, because you see what they're doing, and what they do doesn't affect you, because you know what's going on. But if that's not who you are, if you're kind and soft and gentle and wonderful, empathic and compassionate and a healer, and wanting to help and come from trauma yourself, then they can be pretty evil. They can be pretty dark, because there's this constant opening and then ripping your heart out, and opening and ripping your heart out. And it's done because someone's dealing with a mental health issue. They're dealing with their own internal conflict and contrariness and insecurities and pain and unresolved issues. And you, I'm sorry to say, are probably not a good enough reason for them to get help, because this type of these feelings, these issues that they have, come from a long time ago. They've been dealing with it since they were a kid. Because remember, it probably started out as a chemical imbalance. It could even be a concussion. It could be any sorts of things like that. And so they've been dealing with it their entire lives. And there's usually a sense of of defeat, or this is the way that they have to, there's no other way. Just like you end up in the situation thinking, I can't stand up for myself, I can't set boundaries because the world's going to come to an end. Especially if you had a narcissist as a father or a mother, as a parent. There's this idea of learned helplessness, that there's nothing you can do. And then when you end up in a situation, in a dynamic with a narcissist, there's this helplessness, and you're like, there's nothing I can do, I'm trapped. It's the same way for them. They feel trapped and helpless about what they're doing because they too feel out of control about how they feel. And then they're trying to desperately, in whatever way they can, save their self-esteem for blowing up or behaving badly, or screwing things up, and then they have to blame you, so that they feel better again. It's kind of a vicious cycle. When you start to see beyond the veil and see that it's not you, it's not personal, and the main problem that you have is that you don't stick up for yourself, and the main problem that you have is that you don't respect and love yourself enough, that you're willing to do what's necessary to protect your feelings, to protect your life, to protect your family. That's really the main thing that needs to shift and change, is how you feel about you and how you engage with the world. Now, if you feel completely overwhelmed because this is how you were taught to be, fear not, because the best way out is to get together with women who are learning about themselves, who are learning about narcissists, the qualities that they have that keep them trapped in narcissist relationships, the attraction that they have to people out in the world who are narcissists, the things that they need that they haven't gotten met, because they're looking for other people to meet them for them. Love and kindness and experiences they were supposed to have when they were a kid. So empaths and narcissists are kind of a natural fit. And the only way to not be victimized by a narcissist is to not be a victim. And the only way to not be a victim is to change your nervous system and change how you think and change how you live your life. And you don't have to become a crazy, nutso, out of control person. However, you do need to show more self-respect. So if you feel trapped or stuck and you need help with this, message me. Let me know. There's this wonderful, affordable women's group that we do. We meet every week. We've got tons of support. We do these live streams. There's so much going on, and I would love to have you a part of it. The first 40 women get a huge discount, and they get a program for a year, for an entire year. It's listed as 6 months, but I'm doubling that because I want to make sure our group gets a really great foundation. We've been doing this for a couple months already. We've really been forming it and shaping it into what looks great, and I'm opening it up to other people to join. So I'd love it if you could be a part of it. Reach out, let me know. I'll send you the sales page, and I look forward to getting to know you better. So if you know somebody who needs information about narcissism, pass this on, share it, comment, and reach out, because there's so much that you can do. You don't have to be trapped where you're at anymore. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I plan on it. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.